JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 5th of May, 2022. So yep, guys, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our market news and analysis page, which is updated on a daily basis, so I believe you can find some useful information around there, guys. Now then, jumping into the charts, the first one I want to pick up here is Shanghai Composite. There we go. So we're Nikkei is still closed. I would say Japan is still closed, so yeah, they're coming back tomorrow, but Chinese markets have managed to open up today, and they've opened up in positive territory, and look at this, I mean, we pushed higher. I spoke about this previously. I said that, in a way, we had a nice reversal here to the upside, so at the moment I'm kind of aiming for that 21-day EMA together with this downside line taken from the high of the 3rd of March, which could, play out nicely here. So, in other words, for now, let's keep an eye on this downside line, on this 21-day EMA, of course, initially, and then we'll take it from there. If we do find some sort of resistance around here, another decline could be possible. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index. Now, this one's a little bit tricky here, and to be honest, let me get rid of this all, because yeah, it's haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but as you can see here, from around maybe the mid-February of last year, we have been declining and we have been drifting lower, and we have been trading below this medium-term tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of the 28th of June. So in other words, yeah, I mean, the overall trend is still to the downside. However, from the very short-term perspective, we have this this upside line, which is kind of still, let's say, in play. We have something here of a possible bullish flag forming, but again, too early to talk about that, because in general, if you want to consider that idea, then certainly we would need to wait for at least a breakout through the upper side here, through this barrier, through the 21,292 territory, in order to get excuse me, a little bit more comfortable with higher levels. So you can see that the index is drifting a little bit lower right now. However, it is managing to remain above this 21-day EMA. So there is still hope, of course, for the bulls, but in order to, like I said, to get a little bit more excited with that idea, a push through this 21,292 territory would be needed. Such a move would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and yep, potentially more buyers could join in. Our next target will be this 22,523 territory, around here near this 100-day EMA shown here as the green line, and then yeah, we will take it from there, guys. For the downside, if you're looking for some lower levels, of course, the more convenient and more careful approach here would be to wait for a drop below the 19,665 area, which is marked by the low of the 27th of April, or in other words, the lowest point of April. But certainly, I understand. Let's wait and see how this is going to play out. Because if, for example, this, let's say, starts jumping around here, but above this upside line, then maybe we could raise our this breakout barrier for the downside, depending, like I said, on how it's going to play out. But at the moment, at this point in time, the more let's say convenient, the more careful approach here would be to wait for a drop below this lowest point of April 1st, if you're, of course, looking for some downside. Now jumping into the German index, DAX, very quickly here. So we had a bit of a retracement, so let me just get rid of this line. This is not needed. So I'm still watching this upside line right here, taken from the low of the 27th of April. Yesterday, of course, as you are aware, I mean, we did get the interest rate decision from the Fed. So it came out as expected with 50 basis points rise. So yeah, I'll get to the dollar pairs in a bit, but we saw the indices kind of pushing nicely to the upside, probably mostly on the kind of hawkish Fed tone. So and of course it kind of the U.S. equities did pull the European futures as well. So yeah, we can see that, for example, right now on the cash index, the German index is sitting at around 14,262, 65 area, somewhere somewhere around there. But basically on our chart here, as I mentioned before, that if we push through this 14,100 area, then yeah, I'll go for the upside. And to be honest, right now we got that up move, we got that break above this barrier, and yep, it did happen out of hours, but hey, the idea still kind of worked out, so we pushed through this 21-day EMA, and most importantly, we're now near this downside line taken from the high of the 5th of January. So that's going to be quite interesting to see what's going to happen here, if we're going to get a hold up or not. If we can get a hold up, then another decline could be possible. But if we cannot, and if we break this downside line, then yeah, we'll go for some higher levels, and then we will just take it from there, guys. Now jumping into the S&P 500, so beautiful move to the upside. Look at this. I mean, in the beginning of the trading session, we were declining nicely here, and we are actually we were already dropping below this the low of the 14th of March, and we were falling below that for the 4,162 territory, and but as you can see here, and by the way, probably this is where I need to remove this highlighted area, or actually I'll put it around here. We actually drifted, we ignored this level, and instead of that, we kind of found support near the low of 3rd of May, guys, and you can see here we reversed from this area and pushed higher. We pushed above the high of the previous day, and ended up moving all the way towards that high of the 28th of April near the 4,308 area. We found resistance around there, stalled, and drifted back down a little bit. Now, if we look at the cash index, where we are right now, we are actually bang on the same level, the 4,300 area. So if you're looking for some higher levels, then probably wait for a push above this 4,308 zone. At the same time, we could see a push above the 21-day EMA, and we could go for that larger correction to the upside, because don't forget that we are still trading below this downside line. Now, this is a bit of a tentative line because I've drawn it this way to mark these two peaks. However, if you're not really comfortable with that, you can also put this one here, where you kind of pick up on this high, the high of the 21st of April, and this way you have these two tentative lines. So just for your, maybe it could be better for you to kind of aim for a, for the upside, for example. Let's say if you're not comfortable on a breakout of this, then at least on a break of this line, the slightly less steep one, then you can get a little bit more comfortable with the upside scenario. So either way, guys, I mean, you could keep an eye on these two, but yeah, like I said, for now, The main kind of point here to watch is what's going to happen with this 4,308 zone. If we're also going to climb above the 21-day EMA, if we do that, then yep, I'll go for a larger correction to the upside towards that 4,381 level or this 200-day EMA. So Nasdaq, the best performing index out of the top three in the U.S. So yep, it pushed nicely to the upside, and look at this. I mean, Nasdaq 100 here made its way all the way to this downside line. It talked about this, and yesterday I spoke about this index, and I said that if we drop and stay below this highlighted area, then well, I mean, we could consider maybe a move lower here towards the current lowest point of May. But instead of that, we had just a false breakout and a beautiful reversal back to the upside, and we climbed above this 13,240 zone. I talked about this level, and I said if we push through that barrier, then my next target is this downside line together with the 21-day EMA. Well, we've managed to almost reach that line. Let me have a look at the cash index. Yep, the 13,535 level. That's where we're currently at, and basically where we closed yesterday. So let's see how this is going to play out today. However, what I would prefer here is if we get a break of this downside line, yes, that could be the first step towards aiming for higher levels. But just for that extra confirmation, probably this push above the 13,789 level would be needed, just to to be a little bit more on the safe side. However, as I said, I will already start looking at some higher levels if we break this downside line and we push through that 21-day EMA. Of course, careful calculated stop loss will be required, something that you can basically afford to lose. That's always the case, guys. And then from here we'll go further north. Where should I say we could go further north if, like I said, if we break this area. But again, let's not rush into anything. Let's see how today's day is going to play out. Maybe this up move was just a kind of only one-off move. Maybe the market participants will get back to kind of the previous mindset and just look at what's happening right now in general with the economy, with geopolitics, and and then maybe this will bring the fear back into the game. However, again, there's a lot of speculation, of course, but for now, from the technical perspective, of course, we need to keep an eye on some of these barriers, some of these levels, and for me, like I said, the area that I'm keeping an eye on for the upside is a break of this downside line and a push through that 21-day EMA. And the dollar index, so yeah, beautiful move to the downside. And yesterday I talked about this, and I said that even if we come out as expected, if the rate comes out as expected, what I was saying that maybe this this kind of increase was already priced in. So this is what I mentioned to you yesterday in my morning video, and it seems to be the case that yes, I mean, if we would get like maybe more than the forecast, then yeah, maybe the dollar could continue rallying, but we kind of got the same what was expected. So in a way, we saw the dollar initially kind of pushing it a little bit to the upside against some of its major counterparts, but then yeah, it reversed sharply to the downside. We broke the the triangle. We broke that, and we moved lower. So to be honest, I would say as long as it stays, let me just grab a line here very quickly. So as long as it stays somewhere below this area, or even actually, yeah, somewhere around here, guys, below this the low of the 3rd of May, near the 103.03 level, or in general below the 103 zone. If it stays somewhere below that, then yeah, I will aim for lower levels. And if you remember in my previous videos where I talked about before I got rid of all the lines and levels, just to kind of tidy up the chart, I had this 103 zone, and I said that and last week I was talking about this one. I said that if we drop below that 103 territory, maybe we could consider a bit of a retracement here to the downside. And well, I mean, we are kind of getting that right now. So yes, we're getting a bit of a retracement, so I'm not excluding maybe a push a little bit of a back up here a little bit more. Of course, let me just actually get rid of this line. It's a little bit in the way. That's, by the way, on the top, the 103.82. That's the highest point of 2017. And I'm also keeping an eye on this 102.82 level, because that's going to be my first area which I'm going to be monitoring. And we can, if we get a hold up around here, then we could see that drift lower straight away. However, if we push through this, and yes, again, another point here for the sellers to step in could be near that 103 zone. And well, if that holds, maybe then a nice decline could be possible. If you're not comfortable with neither of that, what you can start looking at here is the low of yesterday near the 102.45, and as you drop below this, yep, may attract a few more sellers into the game, and we could go for that long-awaited large correction to the downside. Quick update on gold, very quickly on that one. So of course, beautiful move to the upside here. Weaker dollar helped out the gold bulls. And look at this, we managed to break this downside line. I talked about this yesterday, and I said that if we pop above this this one right here, the 1872 zone, if we pop above it, then I'll go for that larger correction to the upside towards that downside line, towards that area between the 1890 and the 1895. So as you can see, we managed to reach that, so that's a good move here. Then we actually ended up breaking it. So today we ended up breaking this downside line and pushing through this, through my highlighted area, or sorry, not highlighted area. Probably that's in my mind right now because I'm planning to highlight it. There we go. So this is the one that I'm talking about. So we pushed through this key resistance area, and now I'm aiming for the 1918 level. So if we continue to trade above this one right here, this area between the 1890 and the 1895, then I'll aim for that 21-day EMA initially and that 1918 level, and then we'll just take it from there. For the downside, well, first of all, get rid of this downside line, no longer needed. And for the downside, I would actually prefer maybe to wait for a drop below the 1878 level right here, marked by the inside swing high of the 3rd of May. And if we drop below this, then I'll aim for that 200-day EMA once again. Quick update on WTI oil, so pushing nicely to the upside. Of course, the big news are coming out from the European Union, that they're planning to kind of maybe slow kind of phase out, fully phase out from their dependence on Russian oil. But again, let's see how that's going to play out. Of course, at the moment we take everything as it is. At the moment we're pushing higher on that news, and as I mentioned to you yesterday, guys, that as long as we remain above that 21-day EMA, there's a good chance we could see this one pushing higher. And for me to yesterday, we pushed higher and we tested this hurdle, this area, resistance area between the 108.70 and the 109.05. We managed to find good strong hold up here. Today we're getting a nice push through, at least trying to get a nice good push through it. Let's wait and see here, but for now, everything's looking quite positive here, I would say. However, don't rush into anything yet. Let's see how all this is going to play out, because what I don't want this to end up being is maybe like a possible range, something that I don't really like. But hey, if you're a range trader, then congratulations, maybe this could be something for you. But again, I want to see, like I said, for now everything's, like I said, looking quite positive, but in this confirmation break, and I would need to see the price staying above this hurdle, this area, in order to go for some higher levels. Ethereum, just a quick update because I wanted to talk about this, and well, beautiful, of course, beautiful, because yesterday we had a nice move to the upside. Weaker dollar is helping out here. All these crypto pairs, cryptos against the US dollar here. So ETH USD here is pushing nicely through this downside line. Yeah, this of course is kind of attracting a few more buyers. However, as I mentioned before, for me, I would prefer to wait for a push through this barrier first, this 2,980 area, and then yeah, we could go for some higher levels. Of course, some of you maybe are looking at that psychological 3,000 territory. Of course, yeah, we could, we could still look at that. Don't get me wrong, whatever you are comfortable with. So basically, what I'm showing you here is just these are levels are just kind of areas around those levels. So guys, whatever you're comfortable with, you know yourselves better. So yeah, I'm just kind of here to show you what I'm doing here. Anyway, coming back to this, yeah, for the downside, pretty straightforward. I would prefer to see to drop somewhere below this 2,718 territory in order to go for lower levels. This is the lowest point of April, and then yeah, this would confirm a break of this would confirm a forthcoming lower low. But again, at the moment, we are here, and we're keeping an eye on that 2,980 zone. Now coming back to, or not sorry, not coming back, but jumping into this few pairs. Now I talked about Aud Cad yesterday. I'm just going to quickly update you on this one. So what I said to you yesterday, that if we stay above this 0.9128 zone, then yeah, we could go for some higher levels, and especially if we clear this hurdle, 0.9172, then yeah, beautiful move higher could be possible towards this downside line. When, well, all that worked out nicely. For now, what's next? First of all, we need to get rid of this downside line. It kind of got violated and it's now nowhere. Don't be surprised if we, for example, see this pair today somewhere around here jumping around, but right now, let's say if you're looking for some higher levels, well, I would prefer to wait for a push through this 0.9245 level. At the same time, if we break through this barrier, then we would be placed above all of the EMAs here on our daily chart. For the downside, if you're looking for some lower levels, then well, to be honest, a drop back below the 0.9172 territory might do the trick for a few more sellers. However, I will be very careful then, because still it could drift lower. It could let's say find maybe support somewhere near this inside swing high of the 2nd of May, near the 0.9113, and a rebound, and then we would maybe could get ourselves a triangle pattern here or something annoying like that. So that's why, yeah, for now with the downside, I would say I'm gonna leave it off the table, but for the upside, I would still need to see a push through this 0.9245 level. AUD/USD, very quickly on this one. So similar kind of story here. We pushed through this barrier, the one that I talked about, this 0.71 area, and well, when I covered the AUD/USD, I said that if we push through this barrier and stay above it, then yeah, I will go for some higher levels. And my first target will be this 21-day EMA, which we managed to reach perfectly. My next target will be this downside line. It's not far, to be honest, so it's not a huge area, to kind of get excited with. However, every little helps. So yeah, guys. For now, I would say, and a few levels need to be adjusted. For now, I would say if we pop above this barrier, the 0.7265 area, then yeah, I'll go for some higher levels. But here we have the EMAs, the 100 and the 200-day EMAs, so which could, provide those obstacles on the way higher. If you're very, very conservative and very cautious and careful here, I mean, you could first of all keep your eyes on the 200-day EMA here and wait for a push through that. Then you could wait for a push maybe through the 0.7343 level, but to be honest, we would already be climbing higher here, so so yeah, I think that in this particular scenario, if we do climb above the current highest point of today and the high of yesterday near the 0.7265 level, then yeah, that's where it could become a little bit more interesting for a few more buyers. USD/CHF, very quickly on that one. So I talked about this one yesterday, and look at this beautiful move, guys. I mean, we've popped higher, we moved nicely to the upside, it created this false breakout through this 0.98 zone, and let me just show you what that level is here, and this is the high of the 24th of April of 2020. We pushed through it, created, like I said, a false breakout, and reversed back down. Today we're seeing a nice reversal back up. However, yeah, it's really attractive right now for the downside. However, again, as I said to you, before, that if somehow the market participants see this as a just a one-off move, the yesterday's move as a one-off move, then maybe everything could get back to the same playing field as where it was before the interest rate decision. So I would say the safer option here on this pair is to wait maybe for a drop below this 0.9710 territory right here, and because as you can see here, it was a good support back on the 2nd of May, and also was a good support today. So a nice good drop below it, yeah, may open the door towards lower levels. I do understand it's very tempting here, but if it starts climbing somewhere above the 0.9759 area, maybe I will kind of I'll leave this one and just wait for a better clear move. At the moment it's quite interesting, but let's wait for a confirmation break. USD JPY, also quick update, also similar story. We have this test of this upside line. We didn't break it, so yeah, that's why in a way the upside scenario is still not off the table. However, if you're looking for some higher levels, then probably the option here is to wait for a break of this downside line taken from the high of the 28th of April, and then yeah, we could go for some higher levels maybe, but of course more of those buyers could join in on a break of this 131.25 level, which is the highest point of April. And then yeah, this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and so on and so on. We could go for those higher levels, but for now, from the shorter term perspective, well, wait for probably an exit here out of this little ugly triangle. On the other hand, you'll also don't forget that maybe this could be forming a possible bullish flag here with the pole being this one. So there's a lot of buts here, but we'll wait for that confirmation break instead. And for the downside, probably this is the area to watch, the 128.62 area. That's the low of yesterday. GBP JPY, also quick update. I've talked about this one yesterday, and just like I said, a quick update. So I'm still kind of considering this maybe to be a possible falling wedge pattern, or maybe even a flag here. So at the moment it's just oscillating around that 21-day EMA. So that's I'm just observing this price action. I'm not really doing much here. So yeah, let's keep it as it is. But once we get a clear move out of this formation, then yeah, that's where it's going to be quite interesting. At the moment, of course, if you consider it to be as a falling wedge pattern, then these tend to break to the upside, but at the moment we're not really getting that move towards the upper side of this formation. GBP USD, so yeah, this one reversing to the downside. This is what I'm talking about. So what I was talking about, so previously I talked about this 1.2615 area, so it's not really working out. I have to admit this. So I'll mark the high of yesterday, where we found resistance today as well, this 1.2638 level. So a nice good move above this could attract more buyers, but at the moment, guys, I mean, this is not really looking great. One thing, of course, to keep in mind is this upside line right now, taken from the low, the 28th of April. However, if this is going to end up being somewhat of a falling rising wedge pattern, well, I mean, guys, you know the drill, you know the theory. So this could break out to the downside. However, as long as we remain in this formation, still it could slowly grind higher here. So we might see this one kind of moving around here a little bit. So just for now, let's leave it here. I'll pick up on this one later. EURUSD. So yep, we are still kind of somewhat balancing above this upside line. You can see that yesterday I talked about this 1.6357 level. We created false breakout, and we drifted back down, but we've managed to hold to this upside line taken from the low, the 5th of April. Even if we break this upside line, to be honest, I would prefer to wait for a drop below this 1.6081 level in order to go for lower levels. For the upside, pretty straightforward. I still need to see a nice good push above this area, above this 1.6357 zone, in order to get comfortable with higher levels. And Euro GBP, something that I don't really like, my most unfavored pair here, but yeah, it's doing something interesting. Let's see if it's gonna end up breaking and staying above some of these barriers, because so far, as you can see here, the 200-day EMA has been providing that good resistance. We were pushing through it and staying above this 200-day EMA, but after a few days, you can see that we are drifting back below it. So the same story again. Keep an eye on it. Yes, we could see a further move higher here, a break of this downside line, a push through this 0.8467 level, but will it actually stay eventually above this hurdle? Well, let's wait and see. Let's for now, everything's looking quite interesting here. Of course, don't get me wrong, we're still below this downside line, so it could still play out, but we had already an attempt to break this. Maybe we could have another attempt to break this downside line. And then we'll just go from here. But for the upside, probably I'll stick to this level instead of the downside line for the 0.8467 level, just to be a little bit more on the safe side. And finally, EURUSD, guys. Before well, actually, I ran out of time already, but hey, EURUSD pushed nicely through this triangle pattern, so everything kind of worked out. And this is what I said to you yesterday, that in those extraordinary times, that although normal trading would be seen here, maybe a further move lower because we had a prevailing trend to the downside, but given that we had the news, yep, we broke out to the upside here. So so for now, I would say if you're looking for some higher levels, then wait for a push above this 1.0636 level, and then we could go for for further upside. So for the downside, the same story still is valid. The 1.0495 level is still required. So guys, I'll have to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time, guys. Sorry for rushing through this a little bit, but yeah, hope you found it useful. Thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.